Signs that you are in transition. How do you know that you are in a season of transition into new ground? Signs that you are in transition. Are we together? Usually, so number one, when you are in seasons of transition, usually there is an increased hunger and desire for more. There's an increased hunger, and there's, let me say, a stirring and an increased hunger for more. Some of us are in seasons that there is a stirring in you. You feel like this season I need to pray. Somewhere deep within you know that I need to start praying more than I used to. There's an awakening. It's a sign. Sometimes there's a stirring of new desires. The things that you are interested in the past all of a sudden lose significance or interest for you. All of a sudden, God starts stirring up new desires and new interest in you. You should know that you are in transition. It's a sign. There's a hunger and there's a stir. In transition, sometimes your desires will shift. Certain things that used to be, come on, things that you are passionate about, in seasons of transition, they lose their appeal to you. Transition. There's a stirring of hunger. Hunger for more of God. Hunger to spend more time with God. Hunger for more things than you used to. Another word for that is that there's a holy discontent. A holy dissatisfaction. And so watch it when this sense of hunger is beginning to grow, and you could tell that what I was very interested in now, I don't know what is happening. There will be jobs that you were doing and they were your passion. It comes to a time, it's the same job, it's the same love, but not the same desire, the same weight. And sometimes in life, you need to pick the desires God is energizing in your heart. Because as you delight yourself in God, He gives you desires. You may think they are desires of your heart, but what God does is that He puts His desire in your heart and will feel like your desire. But desires are one of the ways God leads us. And there are changes in desires as we move along. The second thing that gives you sign in times of transition is that in times of transition, there are changing circumstances and changing opportunities. What really happens is that in times of transition, all of a sudden, certain circumstances begin to change. Relationships can start changing. A person that was close to you or that was with you, all of a sudden will leave you. Sometimes when people start leaving, you should know that you've moved into a new season or you are transiting. The truth about transition is that, Abraham can be with you for some time, but for you to go to a next season, there will be situations that will come like a separation. Lot had to separate. Abraham moved to the next season. And here's the thing, there are times in life that, you see, in transition, sometimes you lose people. It is only naivety to think that people will not move. Sometimes you lose people. And some of you are here that you've lost close friends. Some of you, some relationship you've invested in. Sometimes, and I'm here, maybe some of you lost close people. I'm talking about the loss through death. Sometimes in a new season, sometimes death also comes in. Someone close to you dies. Somebody that, and sometimes many people, maybe they lose their parent, they lose their spouse, and sometimes they can't move on. Transitions sometimes come at the point where people leave you. One thing in life is that what God wants to do with you is not tied to individuals. It's tied to God. So people will leave, people will come. Your focus must be God and His seasons in your life, the movement through the seasons in your life. It is also important to know that sometimes relationship will change. The dynamics of relationships will change. All these years, Joshua has been with Moses as an assistant. But all of a sudden, the dynamic change. Moses is dead, and Joshua, you need to wear heavy shoes you've never worn before. There are times also when seasons are changing. Apart from relationship shifting, opportunities also shift. When you realize that certain doors that used to open for you, all of a sudden that door starts closing. Certain places you used to have favor, all of a sudden you are not seeing favor in that direction. And sometimes you are knocking, you've done sometimes some of us, you don't even know what you've done. But the place where you were highly esteemed, now it's as if you struggle to even be there. You should be fast to know that God is giving you a sign. There are times that certain doors close. And listen, certain doors close not because not because God can open more. Sometimes doors close so that God can redirect you into a next season. And you need to be sensitive. So it's not everything that is not working for you that is working against you. You didn't hear that. Not everything that's not working for you. Sometimes certain things are not working for you in the moment, but ultimately they are working for you in where you are going. Are you with me? But as certain doors close, what you also see in transition moment, that new opportunities also start to come. That is why in transition, you don't cry over the doors that have been closed. You also look for the opportunities that God is opening. Sometimes some of the separation may be painful. Yeah, you can grieve, but don't idolize the grieving. Honor people's contribution in your life, but know when seasons are shifted so that you move on. I said, number one, there will be what? Stirring and hunger. New desires. Number two, there's a change in circumstances and opportunities. Doors close, doors open. People move on, but people also come. The third thing you see when you're in points of transition, usually there's increased resistance and opposition. Those of you writing, there's what? Increased resistance and opposition. Sometimes when you are in your season of transition, sometimes it is when you are getting to the next phase that the devil comes at you more strongly. And there are times that everything looks cool, but all of a sudden you enter into a season. Why is it that everything is against me? Like Paul said, I feel like you are hard pressed on every side. You are hard pressed on every side. And that is it. And there's something funny. Sometimes you get new oppositions you never expected. People who you never thought they'll be against you. But all of a sudden, they can turn against you. Opposition sometimes are indicators in the season of transition. And there are times you need to understand life has season. And sometimes when I'm moving into new season, there are resistance. And that is why sometimes you need to wage a good warfare spiritually. And that is why sometimes you also need to be strong in heart, because opposition is part of the journey. Are you here with me? And I'm speaking to some people this morning that you feel that certain things are now against you. It's not everything that you are binding and casting. Some things, they push you. So I'm not saying you don't bind and cast, but sometimes your biggest victory over the opposition is that you use them as pushers or leverages or springboards into your new season. I'm speaking to somebody right now. There's somebody right now here. You are going through a hard time. You are feeling the tides are against you. But God is saying, take heart. Take heart. The resistance and opposition is preparing you for the next season. Because you see, the strength you need in the next season, sometimes you need resistance to build that capacity. When you go to the gym, they have different kinds of training. One of the training is called resistance training. It helps you build strength. And sometimes there's necessity. So, just to help us, number one, there'll be stirring of new desires and hunger. Number two, there's what? change of circumstances and change of what? Situations. But number 3, there'll be what? Resistance and opposition. Now, one more thing around change of circumstance and situation. Usually in transition time, sometimes for some people, there'll be change of supply. Certain things that used to give you supply, all of a sudden it will close. Certain jobs that used to do well for you will not be doing well in a season. You need to know that there are transitions. Sometimes some financial supply that comes around season, all of a sudden will stop. So that you need to look, where is God leading me next? Elijah, there will be a season I'll provide for you at the brook. And the ravens will come and feed you. But there will be a season I'll ask you, get up and go to the widow in Zarephath. Because the season of supply has changed. Israel, there's a season where I'll give you manna from heaven. And it will fall every day. But Israel, there will be a place in the new ground where I no more give you manna. I want you to learn how to get milk and honey from the land. The supplies may change. And some of you are in season that you know certain supplies are changing. You may feel like you are tight in a season. But if you understand some of these things, you begin to open yourself up to where is God leading. Because God will not stop the brook. Or God will not stop the supply of the brook if he has not provided the widow of Zarephath in the next season. God will not stop the manna if he has not started the milk and honey. Before God will end one supply gate, he has already opened another one. You need to see them. The last thing that you should know around seasons transition. In fact, because I want to make sure that we get it, that's why I'm intentionally repetitive. So let's go through it again. Number 1 is what? Increased desire. Number 2? Number 3? I didn't get you. Increased resistance and opposition. But this is one funny thing about transitions. There's opposition, there's resistance. You are having some sort of changing seasons and changing relationships that is creating some anxiety and some hunger. But one funny thing about transition is that you are also met with an unusual peace. Let me say, an unusual peace and a call to step out in faith. There's this funny combination. Do you understand? So although things are funny, there's this peace that you have in season of transition. Some doors are closing, but there's this peace. You don't know when the next opportunity will come, but there's a peace in the storm. You know that songwriter said, I got joy in chaos. I got what? Peace that makes no sense. And that's one of the marks of transitions. Things are getting haywire. Things are getting funny, but there's this peace that stabilizes you. But more importantly, there is this drawing on your inside, sparking faith. No, step up, go in. Like there's faith, but there's peace. There's peace, but there's faith. And this is the beauty about seasons like this. The Bible talks about the peace of God. It says, let the peace of God rule in your heart. That word rule is can be explained again, umpire or like a referee. Let it guide. Let it guide. I don't know where next I'm going, but there's this peace in my heart that is assuring me that God is with me. And I keep putting the next step forward. You see, when there's peace, it's easy to express faith. That inner peace. So you can move on. You can step in. You can't get to new grounds if you don't transition well. If you don't steward transitions well. The indicators. Hallelujah.